Hi and welcome to my channel. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my experience seeing a gynecologist, a hematologist, and my struggles with heavy bleeding and low iron levels. I cannot believe how many women out there have reached out to me and have commented on some of my previous videos talking about anemia and iron levels, and I'm really surprised how many women are actually struggling with this issue. So I wanted to give a little bit more insight on my journey and the things that I have gone through trying to get to the bottom of this topic. Also struggling with very heavy periods, and this is not a topic that we can take lightly. It is extremely difficult on our day-to-day life. Like I mentioned in some of my previous videos, I've been struggling with anemia and heavy periods for about 20 years now, and I am still having difficulty finding a doctor or finding someone who can actually give me a very concrete reason as to what is happening to the body. Why am I losing so much blood? A lot of the places and a lot of the doctors that I've seen, they can't give me an answer. They just say, you're born like that, it is what it is. Here are two options: a pill, an IUD, Depo-Provera, whatever else are out there that will stop and minimize the bleeding or stop and minimize your period. And it's really upsetting now because I can't seem to get to the bottom as to why it's happening. And there doesn't seem to be very many clear-cut answers online or even, in the medical community. It's almost like this kind of big question mark. Because of all the excess blood that I'm losing per month, then I'm also losing a lot of iron. And so my iron has been low. I'm doing everything I can to get the iron back up. I just want to share a story with you with my experience with a hematologist. A hematologist is a blood doctor specialist, so they specialize in blood disorders, clotting disorders, that sort of thing. One of the ideas that I came across was, okay, since my body is having trouble clotting blood during that time of the month, and even in general, I find that if I cut myself by accident or if I injure myself, I'm losing a lot of excess blood. So I talked to the gynecologist, who never even brought this option up, and I asked her, I said, do you think I could possibly have a blood clotting disorder, and maybe that's why I'm having so much of the heavy bleeding? And she said, it's possible. If you want, we can test for it. Now, in order to get an appointment with a hematologist in Canada, it can take a few months because it's a specialist referral. So expect to wait quite a long time. But I kept following up with the receptionist at the doctor's office, and basically I remember this one phone conversation, and I asked her, okay, when is the hematologist appointment? Am I going to get a call, or like how is it going to work? And she said, well, we're not quite sure because we've never sent anyone to a hematologist before. So here I was at a gynecologist clinic who's been around for a long time now, and they have never thought that maybe one of the issues with women who are struggling with heavy bleeding is because they have a blood clotting disorder. So I just found that really fascinating. If I hadn't done my own research, if I hadn't gone online to see what else can be the cause of heavy bleeding, she wouldn't have told me that. When I sat in her office, and I've seen about 5 different gynecologists, I've seen several family doctors. They sit and they say, here are the 2 options: IUD, birth control. That's it. I also remember having a conversation with a doctor and asking them, perhaps do you think that the extreme amount of blood loss is caused by a nutritional deficiency or maybe some food allergy or intolerance that I'm having? And I clearly remember them looking me in the eye and saying, absolutely not. Nutrition has nothing to do with it. So I'm venting a little bit because I've reached a point where I'm so frustrated, and all I want is to find some answers to get the iron level up and to really help reduce the heavy bleeding. I finally got a call from the hematologist office telling me to come in, and the hematologist that I saw works out of a hospital. So I ended up going to the general hospital, to their hematologist division, and he was very nice. He was a very nice doctor, very nice man, and he basically checked off a page of all of these tests and blood work that I need to do in order to determine if I have a blood clotting disorder. So he did that, and that same day they have a blood clinic. So I went there and withdrew about 6 capsules of blood to get tested for blood clotting disorder and that sort of thing. And when I saw the nurse, she drew the blood from me, and I even noticed this, but she said, "Oh, your blood is actually looking a little on the thick side." So when you draw blood, you get to see the blood coming into these plastic clear tubes, and the nurse fills these tubes and they send that to the lab for testing. And I remember her looking at me and looking at my blood and saying, "Wow, this is a little bit thicker than normal, but nothing to be concerned about." And I even noticed that the blood looked a lot thicker as well. It wasn't very fluid. It was quite thick. So about a week later, the hematologist called and he said, "Okay, so your blood results are in, we have your tests, and everything is normal except your iron level is very, very low. So you have 2 options here. So there's no sign of a blood clotting disorder. So in order to reduce the bleeding or even really minimize it, we're going to give you a prescription for some kind of acid, and it's something to help clot the blood in the body. And I'm only supposed to take that during the time of my period. If any of you have experienced taking any medication or any kind of prescriptions that are designed to clot blood, I would love to hear them in the comments below, and even just share your experience taking it. He also said, okay, so here your iron level is a 9, so it is still very low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some iron pills. You're going to take these 3 times a day with some juice, vitamin C or whatever. Now the iron pills are probably going to cause some constipation, so I'm going to prescribe you some more laxatives to take, because the medication for the increase in iron is going to cause some blockage, and you need another medication to eliminate the blockage. So he prescribed me 3 different kinds of medications. 1, to reduce the blood clotting in the body. Secondly, to increase the iron level. So he prescribed some very heavy iron pills. And 3, some very heavy laxatives, because the iron pills cause the constipation. I left the office and I was completely confused. And I'm not the type of person that is just going to put anything in my body without being fully informed, and that's even with food and with anything that I'm drinking. Anything that I put on my skin is as natural as it can be. So you can imagine my reaction when he told me to take all these medications and all these prescriptions, and I left wanting to pull my hair out again, because again, I didn't get a clear answer as to why the blood loss is happening at such a rapid and extreme rate. No one has been able to explain this to me, and I don't understand how anyone can just focus on putting a band-aid on the problem or a band-aid on the issue without fully exploring the endocrine system or the hormonal system. Or you have people that this is a whole other topic, but even psychologists, even psychiatrists are the only ones that can prescribe medication for people who are struggling with a mental disorder. And they don't even take a scan of the brain. They don't look at the brain or the organ in question, before prescribing medications. You don't know how your body's going to react. Every body is different. But instead of looking at the whole picture or even looking at the organ in detail or seeing what is happening to the body, how can you possibly just throw these toxic medications in your body? So this has been my experience with the hematologist and the gynecologist. I just wanted to share my story with you ladies out there in hopes that perhaps you have some other experiences or any solutions to heavy bleeding, low iron. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story. Share them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!